Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Bryan Board of Public Affairs meeting for March 15th, April 5th, 2022. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the March 15th, 2022 meeting. Board, you've been supplied with a copy of the minutes. If there are any changes or corrections.
I didn't see any changes or corrections that needed to be made. I will move that we approve the minutes of the March 15th meeting.
I will second them.
Tom?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Next is a hearing of public concerns. Is there anyone present that would like to address the board that's not on the agenda? Yes, ma'am. Would you step up to the podium, please?
My name is Anita Brandeberry. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association for Autumn Chase Subdivision. That's just off of Fountain Grove Drive. So I'm here with 4 of my fellow residents, either side of me, and I'm representing 45 households. And I just would like the opportunity to share with you my investigation of alternatives to Bryan City Cable and what I've encountered. From the inception of Autumn Chase, and the first resident moved there in 2003, our association has had an agreement with BMU that you are the exclusive provider of our cable service to all the homes. And that is at a reduced rate. So we get a single billing to our treasurer, who's here with us, and through our homeowner fees, that is paid. So as I've been investigating our alternatives, I've run into some challenges. I've had 4 phone calls to representatives for Spectrum, and these would not be local people. The challenge is serviceability for Autumn Chase. And the second is cost of insulation. I was told that to get service at my own home, and they would only give me a quote for my home since I was making the call. It was going to cost my husband and me between $1,200 and $1,500 installation fee. We would be the first in the subdivision, but so the other homes after that would not have that extensive cost because it'd be easier to connect once there was a first house connected. Our challenge is that we have fields on 3 sides of us. To our west, we have a field that goes over to Briarwood, which hooks to Markey. To our north, we have a field that goes up to Cardinal. On our east, the next thing is Alliance Church. So that's the problem that we are encountering, is serviceability. And even if we were willing to pay that kind of fee, I wasn't promised that they would run a line to our home. Basically, they said we're not serviceable. And I checked for some of the other homes in Autumn Chase who were not on the inside like I am, and I didn't get too far. So last Thursday, I got in my car and drove to Defiance, to the office there. Thought speaking to someone more local, face-to-face, we would see where we could get. And so that, yes, that was last Thursday. Today, a representative from there called me back. She and whomever else was there on our behalf had sent someone out to survey our territory and came back and said, no, we cannot connect from somebody from Cardinal. We cannot connect from Briarwood. We can only come into Autumn Chase off of Fountain Grove down your easement. However, when they presented that request to their supervisors, they were told no. And I think they were told no more than once. That it was not, we were not serviceable because of the stream cost of installation. So that's where we stand at this point, that we can't even get Spectrum if we wanted it, and it is our only cable option. So I'm not giving up. This lady is pursuing this for us. In fact, she's asked me to let her know tonight if we find out when our BMU service might end, so we know just what kind of crunch we're under. So that's really what I'm speaking about, is to share our challenges with you. We realize that we have the option of streaming. Our restrictions for our subdivision specify no dishes, no satellite dishes, except with the approval of the board. And that's if they're not if they're not visible, they have to be somewhat hidden. Looking at my notes, I didn't want to forget to say that even if we are approved, it would take close to 2 months to get everybody hooked up in Autumn Chase, because they don't have enough employees to come out and hook up a bunch of homes at one time. They can only do one, then come back a few days later and do another. So that's why I'm here, to make you aware of some of the challenges. And I think when I spoke to Chris here today, he didn't mention there are a few other places in the area that are not in real close proximity to the city limits that might have the same challenges. So what I'm hoping is that we will be given some clear direction as to when, if and when, the cable service might end, so that we know what we're dealing with, just how diligently we need to pursue our other alternatives. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Well, the thing that concerns me, in addition to the lady that just spoke, my name is Jim Paul, and I live on Deerfield. Similar to the problem to this lady's, we're in a condo association, and again, absolutely no discs are allowed, no TV towers are allowed, cable only, in our bylaws, in which we can't easily change. So we're kind of at the mercy of whatever happens here too. And the thing that kind of concerned me personally was the fact that we feel like we're kind of getting a double whammy. As many of you know, we were at the meeting last night referencing the trash situation, and good grief, here we are 24 hours later with another major problem. It seems like the timing isn't the best, considering the economy and what's going on in the economic sector. It would have been kind of nice if this could have been put off till next year at least, so that we wouldn't be dealing with both of these major things at the same time. But our concern is exactly the same thing as this lady mentioned. Plus, there's a little bit of an accounting issue here too if this goes. If we have to issue a check to the Bryan municipal utilities for sewer and water, that's one check. Now we got to do another check for, say, Spectrum, and a third check then will go toward Republic for the trash. So my wife's going to be a busy accountant over here, I think, if all this goes through. It's inconvenient, in other words. But the main thing is we have no options either, as much as this lady has with Autumn Chase. We're in the same boat. So, there's 14 of us. So I'm not even sure about the other homes in the subdivision, but the condo association does have that restriction in our bylaws. Thank you.
Anyone else? Back to the agenda. Next on the agenda is the discussion regarding BMU Cable TV and a possible resolution.
I'll start out. We can come back and talk about some of this stuff later, but we wanted to give you guys the opportunity to stand up and hear the issues that you had. And it's unfortunate, you guys have all been, devoted customers of BMU, and we appreciate that. But I think you need to just hear our side of it also and look at the predicament that we're in, more than just writing another check. So I'm going to kind of recap where we were, where we left off our meeting from the last one, because we said that we would continue our discussion. So just a short recap of what our last meeting was as far as the challenging facing our cable TV company. So one is technology changes over the years. There's been an increase in streaming and cord cutters over the years, which has played a role in our declining TV customers. The competition, larger companies, just like we spoke of, is making it difficult for small providers such as BMU Cable TV to compete in this market. So we're competing against these large corporations who have many, many more customers to spread their costs over their programming fees. The rising costs combined with decreasing subscribers. Programming fees have increased over 116% in the last 7 years, excuse me. Our number of subscribers since a high in 2006 of 2,500, and we just did a count on is this March of 2022, we're at 1,182 customers. So that's a decrease in subscribers over 52%. So programming costs versus our cable TV rates that we now charge. Current extended programming costs are about $118.22. That's what we pay in programming fees a month for each and every customer per month. That's what it costs us to run those programming fees. The current BMU cable TV rates for basic is $36.74 and the extended is $79.34. So to cover programming fees only, our cable TV rates would need to be adjusted. For example, basic would need to go from $36.74 to $44.93. That's a 23% increase. Extended would need to go from $79.34 to $118.22 per month. That's a 49% increase in those rates. And just keep in mind that that's just programming fees only. That doesn't even account for everything else that we have to do and pay for. That's just those costs alone. You know, even if we were to raise the rates to $118.22, that's for a analog service. And it doesn't account for the rest of our expenses that we have. So that's currently a shortfall of $18.19 a month for the basic and a shortfall of $38.88 a month for our extended cable TVs, just to cover those costs. So this is all impacting our decreasing cable TV revenues. Our monthly revenues have been trending downward for years. When we factor in cable TV revenues for programming expenses, we're currently, we have a deficit of almost $25,000 a month in just cable TV costs. So that's substantial. I mean, that's a pretty hefty deficit. So where we left off, I think our last slide was the question of where do we go from here? In the way that we see it, we have a few options. There's a few options that we can do. One is we continue down this same path, right? We just continue to spend our fund balance down, and $25,000 a month is what it is right now that we're losing, and we continue to do that. I don't know if that's the healthiest thing to do for a communication department as a whole. The cable TV is one part of our system. We have a fiber system, we have a television, or internet. We do a lot of different things here in our communication, so I want it to be clear that this is just one portion of what we do. This is the portion that's not doing very well, that's costing us money, and it's dragging the whole communication department down as a whole. So I mean, I hope you can understand the predicament that that's in, that you just don't want to let one thing bleed you down because of programming costs and stuff like that. Programming fees are not coming down. So that's what we could do. We continue down this path, we spend our fund balance down almost until we collapse as a communication department. Another thing we could do is we can increase our rates just to cover our programming costs, which we just talked about. I mean, I don't know how many people out there are willing to pay $118 a month for an analog product, but it's, you know, that's a thought. or do we invest in our cable TV infrastructure and technology, which would be, I mean, our communication department right now, we look at our other departments and we rolled over, what, 40-some thousand dollars into our capital for capital improvements for our whole communication department. There's not much you can do when some of this stuff costs $600,000 to $1 million to go through and do some of the technology changes that we need to do. It would take us a long time at $40,000 as far as rolling over for our capital. But that's something we could do. We could borrow money. We can reinvest in the cable TV and increase rates and borrow money. We could do that. Or lastly, do we discontinue offering just the BMU Cable TV service and continue our internet and fiber services? So the question of where do we go from here, I think it's a discussion worth having. Kind of, highlighted some of the facts that are confronting us right now. And the two, where do we go from here questions, as far as that goes, one, increased rates, and two, discontinuation, is would require a resolution to do either one. We've prepared one just in case the board decides to go that direction. The other two, invest, and we discontinue or increase or continue down our same path. It's just direction from the board. It wouldn't require anything but direction to BMU to continue to those things. So with that recap, I mean, we can talk about some of your concerns and answer some of your questions, and then we can open it up to the board to continue this conversation. But I just want to do a quick recap for you to let you know where we're at. So with that, I'll just open it up for comments from the board.
Yes, ma'am.
If we lose our cable, we're going to take our internet with us. We're not going to keep the internet either. Because we don't want to pay the internet one and then cable on another. We live here in town. I don't know what it costs us to have Spectrum put in. I have no idea. But we have had some friends that have had it done next door, and they didn't say anything about it. It cost us $12,000 to have it put in. But we're in town. That probably makes a difference, I'm sure.
Yeah,
we really don't want to lose
I
our cable.
can tell you this, that I think it's, I don't know, when you're speaking directly to the cable company in Defiance is a little different than, we have contacts that are actual engineers for Spectrum that looks at this in a whole other perspective that you're looking at it, as going up there and saying, I want a cable, and then are looking at their maps and you don't have access to cable. We can contact them. If the board decides to go that direction, we can contact them immediately. We haven't been able to reach out to anybody because we don't know what our direction is. It's the board's decision to make. But if that was a decision that was made, Joe and I would both reach out to Spectrum engineers, which we have direct connection to, let them know the situation and work that direction. I mean, you already know that some of the options that you have is dish that you could put on. Dishes are smaller, but you can put them on the back of your homes, and that's something you could also stream using our internet service as far as that goes. But we'll work and do what we can do. Like I said, you guys have been great customers, and honestly, when it comes down to a business decision, it's what's good for the whole, and that's what we have to look at, and the decision we have to make is what's good for all the ratepayers. Is it worth spending down our fund balance and collapsing our fiber and other services? Because the services we supply, that a lot of people, as the mayor brought up last time, that's important to discuss is, we do things all over Williams County. Our fiber system connects schools, banks, libraries. It's not just in Bryan, Ohio. It also supplies all of our city buildings, the internet that we have here, our phone systems, our SCADA systems. We have one of the largest fiber for a community our size. I don't know of anybody that can even come close to what we do. So we do a lot for the community there, as far as even some of the banks and stuff in town that we supply. So it's like, I would hate to see this bled down and be a burden to the rest of the communication department. There's a decision that needs to be made, knowing that you've been good customers, and we would love to be able to keep as many internet customers as we can. That's important to us, and so is the fiber. And I'm not saying that this is going away, because there are future things that can come down the road. There's things that we could do with our fiber down the road. There's possibly things we could do with our internet, but technology's changing. People are just not, our cable TV customers are just, falling. And it's mostly younger people that are streaming and stuff like that, I get that. But it's not that hard to actually do. I mean, there's things out there like YouTube TV, and I run it on my internet. I've been practicing. I get all the local channels, 11, 13, and it's $10 a month cheaper than what my cable bill is. I get all digital quality cable. I get unlimited DVR, and the picture quality is amazing for $10 cheaper a month. It's stuff that can be done to get you by until then. So those are just, thoughts to put out there to people. So I just wanted to let you know. And I understand you're in a bad spot. I mean, but we all are. So we're just going to have to kind of understand each other on where we're all coming from. And we are compassionate as far as, what you're going through, because you're not the only ones. We have a couple others that are in town, that not as many as this subdivision, but there are a small quantity of people that may not. But I'm pretty sure that Spectrum will come in here when they have an option for 45 customers to basically put in a plant to help service those people. I don't know, Joe, do you want to add anything as far as that goes?
No, I think you laid it out pretty clearly. I'll have some comments later once the board has commented on.
Okay. I just wanted to touch on some of their concerns that they had as far as like when they were speaking. I didn't want to interrupt them.
I have to wonder if the price that you said they cited you to build into Autumn Chase is probably because they don't have any system built in there, and that they were expecting the association to pay for them to come in and do it. I can't imagine them charging you personally that kind of money, because I know what I'd tell them if they told me that. And that would be probably and God, I don't mean to sound like I'm trying to scare customers off here, but I assume that would be something that would be shared amongst the property owners. And
I think that, yes, something could be worked out, but at this point, we are being denied service. We are not serviceable. You're saying you have some,
right.
so
I
we might
understand.
be able to work around.
Yeah,
that.
trust me, I'm not arguing the point with you. I just I have an idea of how
What
Spectrum
will help
can
us is knowing a date.
be. Yeah.
That's my number one plea.
Yeah, that's what we're going to work on tonight. And Mr. Paul, I wasn't able to make the council meeting last night, but I did see your discussion with the council, and it struck me a little bit, because we're in a little bit of the same situation that the council is as far as the trash goes. And trust me, I was a 30-year employee of the utility, and I played a small part building this system. And without getting too personal here, I mean, I hate to see it go away as much as anybody, but it's like what the city council is dealing with. It's things that are beyond our control. It's broadcast fees and equipment. I mean, we had, and Joe, feel free to jump in because I probably won't explain this right, but we had a large amount of equipment delivered, I don't know, some months back, because of what we would have to do to the system to maintain our digital channels. And it was a horrendous amount of money. And that was about the time I would say that you probably heard that the city cable was going analog. That, for me anyway, is what hurts the most, is because, well, like Nate says, we could raise rates. I mean, I'm on the committee for the communication system at the utility, and we just had a meeting just a week or so ago. And the amount of money that the utility lost just for the month of January and February was a substantial amount. And I guess what is hard for me to justify in my own mind is that we can raise the rates and the product will stay exactly the same. And I can almost guarantee you that somewhere not too far down the road, the broadcasters, I mean, these same channels that you could put up an antenna and pick up for free, we have to pay to carry. And they're not generous with us, they're generous with themselves when they set their rates. I guess I hate to say this, but to raise the rates to try and stay, I don't know, we're kicking the can down the road.
And they raise their rates every January.
Oh,
And we
all
don't
the
know what
time.
it, and we don't know what it is every year. We can't even
Yeah.
guess.
And we have equipment in the field now that has been, I don't know, Joe, how many years have the nodes and stuff been out there? 20?
Approximately 24.
Yeah, and what's the expected life of this equipment?
Oh, generally, you don't, at the high end, you generally expect 15 years.
Okay, 15 years. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is not only are we looking at broadcast costs, but we're also looking at, if we keep the cable side, there's some expensive equipment in the field that's going to need replaced. And I'm not saying one way or another here. I mean, because it's a board decision, not just me. But these are all things. I mean, I've been on the board for over 8 years now, and I mean, I can honestly say that, you know, depending on the director we had at the time, I had a feeling that this day would come, unless something miraculous happened. And it doesn't, by appearances, it's not going to. So we'll have to make the decision.
Jim, I think at the last meeting, we talked about what the expense would be to upgrade everything, new equipment and everything we need to keep the product viable, and it would take, we only have 6,000 and some meters in Bryan, so 6,000 and some potential customers. Even if every one of them took the cable from us, we still don't have enough money to pay for all the improvements we'd have to make. It's just not feasible.
And Joe tells me the dishes on the tower will have to be replaced if we stay in. So I mean, there's a lot of things to look at, I guess, not just, trust me, it's not an easy decision.
Jim, if I may, I'd like to approach the podium and speak to the board and these folks there.
Please.
To try to clarify a couple of things that's been mentioned. That way KB can catch me on the microphone. Appreciate you folks coming in. To answer some of your concerns you had, number one, this gentleman here in Deerfield, as far as I know, and I believe I'm correct on this, Deerfield has both Spectrum and BMU available in that development. So if the cable product goes away, you can get service from them. They'll do a normal install just like they would to another home. They'll just run another drop to your house, to your condo, and you folks will be fine. Unfortunately, you'd have a separate bill. We hate that. As far as Autumn Chase goes, Autumn Chase has been a situation that we've struggled with for months. This isn't something new. As far as Spectrum, quoting you over $1,200 to install your home. Typically what a large cable operator does, I come from that world for many, many years before I came here. What they will do is if your house is not serviceable by a standard service drop, for a standard installer can come out and connect it, and it wouldn't be, they always give you an aid to construction cost to extend plant to you. Most of the time, they increase this cost. They have procedures they go by, and they set this cost that is going to be exorbitant for most people. Sometimes you'll have a customer that they will have a main line running down the road. It'll be a farmhouse. Farmhouse will be 400 or 500 feet off the road, too long for a service drop. They'll charge you to extend the plant to a certain point. That's what's being presented to you. Now, they're telling you you're not serviceable because you're not serviceable by standard drop. If the cable product goes away, Spectrum should, because even though you're a private subdivision, what would have to happen is we would contact them immediately, Nate and I, and what you do is you can't get customer service representatives in Font or somewhere else really involved. It has to go to the engineering level. They have to transfer it to the marketing level. The marketing folks would get your contact information. They would contact you, the president of the association. then they would go into negotiations of what they need to do to get the plant built into Auburn Chase. At that time, they send engineers in, they design it, and they get the main lines buried and plowed into the subdivision, and they can start connecting homes. So it's not an impossible situation with you folks. They would negotiate a bulk rate with you as BMU did years ago. Have no idea what that would be, what services they would offer, or anything. But our intent is for you folks and the other locations in the city that Spectrum does not have plant present. We are prepared to work with them. We cannot dictate what they do, but to work with them any way we can to get you folks service. The reason for this decision and having to do it immediately this year is due to technology reasons. The FCC has approved the reallocation of the satellite bandwidth spectrum. They did this a couple of years ago. And they did it to make room for the 5G transmission that's happening across the country for the cell companies, etc. When they did that, they compressed all the satellite programming into a smaller footprint or bandwidth. In doing so, they have increased the requirements to compress all of, I won't get too technical here, but basically they've made the pipe smaller. So all the cable operators have to put equipment in, and it has to be upgraded to even receive the signals. And as Nate spoke to it and Jim did too, there's a lot of equipment that has to be replaced and rebuilt in our head end. The expenses, there would never be a return on investment for it. We would physically pull our fund balance down to a point, and the clerk's office knows this as well as anyone. There's a certain level we can pull that fund balance down. We can't go further than that. We would pull it down to a point where we couldn't maintain the fiber optic network that we have to maintain for this utility and for the city. So to answer your question, Spectrum should work with you folks. We will do everything we can according to what the board decides to help expedite that. And also impress upon them the urgency of the time frame we're looking at here. So I just want to speak to you folks to try to get, you have any other questions that I could answer for you?
Is it voodoo in industry that you can't take Spectrum's cable and plug in BMUs to it? You have to run new cable?
They will need to run new cable because their design architecture is different than ours, and unless they are different than most cable operators are, they will not tie into someone else's line. For example, a few years ago, we had another circuit brought into the head end, big circuit for internet. The provider of that circuit would not use our fiber to connect out across town somewhere to transport it over here. They made us let them put a physical fiber into that building. So to answer your question, they sold it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
One further question. Hopefully there would be enough time allowed to all of us, because there'll be a substantial amount of Bryan residents that will, let's say, go to Spectrum. And obviously Spectrum can't come in and say, okay, folks, we're going to do this all in 2 weeks. I mean, they got the east side, the west side, north, south, we're all over the place. And Auburn Chase, I'm not sure how many homes, but that's a lot. We've got probably 65, 70 homes in our subdivision. You get Greystone, you get Peters. It's going to take a long time, in other words, to install all this. So would BMU work with us in a case like that to not cut us off until we can get something else installed?
Well, to answer your question, it's a valid point. We have approximately 4,000 homes that we pass in the city of Bryan, and in the edge of Bryan. Okay, we have less than 1,200 customers out of that 4,000. So when you do the math, either people have nothing, or they have Frontier Internet, or they have Spectrum already. If Spectrum, if we make this decision to discontinue the cable product, what will happen is that customers will start calling Spectrum to switch over. If Spectrum starts getting too many work orders and installations in, because a lot of their installs, they use contractors anyway. They'll tell their contract company, we need you to beef up, because I've done this before many times. They need to beef up their staff to come in here to take care of the work orders, the demand for the customers. So I don't anticipate that customers would be without service before the deadline.
Is there a certain deadline, do you know yet or anything when this is gonna happen?
Yes, ma'am, and I'll defer the director to make that comment here when he speaks to the board.
Why not bite the bullet now, contact Spectrum and tell them what to expect?
Because we can't make any kind of moves or any direction without the direction of the board.
It sounds like it's a done deal with the board.
Well,
So that being the case,
yes, sir.
once the board acts, is it possible for you to contact Spectrum and say, this is what's coming, just to give you a heads up?
Once the board acts, either way they act, according to that action, we will be contacting Spectrum because we have to, because of Autumn chasing some other locations, and at that point they would be notified of our plan. Yes, sir. Anything else I can answer for you folks? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
I'll just say this and then I'll be quiet. But you have to believe that this is not an easy decision for any of us. And if it was a matter of spending a reasonable amount of money to improve the service, an amount that the utility could afford to spend, I think we would be the first ones to vote for it. But it's hard to justify spending this kind of money to just keep it the same. It's just no good. So anybody else have any discussion?
I'll just add that this is not something that's come on quickly. For years, we have been eating the costs. That's something I thought maybe Joe might say. As Annette pointed out, every year we get rate increases by all the different channel providers, and we have not passed along a lot of those costs on a yearly basis. We have absorbed them, and that's put us in this deficit. I mean, we didn't want to lose you back years ago when we probably would have if we would have been passing along the costs. So,
And if I can chime in, I think one way we've tried to, and Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, and I think one way we've tried to combat, to try to even out the cost, is we've ended up dropping channels or losing channels in some way, shape, or form to try to keep the cost affordable. Is that a correct statement? Because this is time prior to me being on the board, but
We're forced to take the channels that they make us take. I mean, we
Is that
don't
what it
really have
is?
a
Yeah.
choice of those, but, I mean, we tried by the discontinuation of the digital a little bit to try to save it. You know, I mean, we've done things that, but you're right, we didn't pass along those costs. We were, which is, you know, maybe it wasn't the right thing, but I'd look at you now and say, would you pay $118 a month for a digital product or an analog product?
analog.
And most people would say no. I mean, that's almost, I think, more than Spectrum charges for their digital DVR service and everything else. So I mean, I just think it would be tough for somebody. I know I wouldn't. You know, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't pay $118 a month for an analog cable TV. Not to mention that the upgrades that Joe was talking about, the compression issues that's going to be going off. I think it's going to actually, the analog service will degrade even more. So the product that we're actually going to try to, even if we were to charge, it's going to degrade and it's going to be a worse product than we have now. over time because of this compression issue that we have and what we have. So it's just, I mean, if you can't offer a good product, it's hard to want to stay in the business. You want to be proud of the things that you offer. By doing this, hopefully we can step up and do something more with our internet and, you know, maybe fiber down the road, you know, those types of things. But it's just, it's difficult right now to charge that much money and offer the product that we do. It's something that, you know, you hate to say as a provider, you know, but it's the facts. It's unfortunate.
I'd like to add one more thing, and that is, if any of you have internet service, you have the ability to stream. And you have a good opportunity right now to find out more about streaming and even try it. If you have a streaming TV, it's easy. If you bought a TV within the last few years, I can't say 3-4 years, but I don't know. But it's very easy. Internet connection without wires. And so that's an option to consider as well. Find out about it, test it out, see if that's a way you can get away with, like everybody else in the whole country, the world's doing. They're all cutting the cables. That's just the way the business is going.
It's what you want to watch when you want to watch it, and that's what people are doing. That's why our subscribers are going down because of that. I mean, there's a lot of elderly people that will struggle with that streaming part, but they have grandkids, they have children. I mean, everybody's doing this, so it's like I said, I got YouTube TV, and I've been playing with it for a while now, and I'm super happy with it. With our cable, our internet, and streaming, getting, you know, all the local channels that I got before, and the DVR, and it's $10 a month cheaper, and it's all, I hate to say it, but the quality is amazing, you know, for what you're getting. So it's like, and you know, who else does that sells a product and tries to tell you about something else? But it's true, and that would be something to tide people over for a while, you know, I think. But it's an option, you know. I guess Dish is an option too, but I understand, you know, the idea of having something. They are smaller, you know. They're not like our big ones back there that are, you know, 10, 20 feet diameter. They're smaller, so there are options out there. But streaming's a good option, and it really is.
Also, in my judgment, it seems to me that we have to deal with the FCC, and the FCC seems to, in my judgment, seems to be protecting the broadcasters to some extent, because we're obligated to carry channels from Toledo. That's not to say that we have to carry the channel, but if we carry an NBC channel, we have to carry the NBC channel from Toledo. We can carry the channel from Fort Wayne, but then that means we have 2 NBC channels, twice the cost. So they're obligating us. I mean, there's Channel 36 from Toledo. I mean, you've told me before, the checks we've had to write just to carry that one channel, it's ridiculous what they charge. And it's the same channel, you can put up a tower and antenna and pick it up for free. But since they think we're making money off broadcasting their channel, they really put it to us. They really do. It's a sad state. So if there's any other, go ahead.
Does BMU have the manpower to come out and tell us? Because I know I've gotten a new TV, so my son says you don't even need cable. But can someone come out and tell if you need a modem or what?
You need a wireless, your modem, but a modem and a wireless router, so you would need a combination of just a wireless internet. Or you wouldn't even need that, you can plug it directly into your TV from your modem, so it doesn't even have to be wireless. That's what I'm saying, they're you know, grandchildren, children, friends, I mean, 90% of the world knows how to do these things, and it's very simple once you figure it out. Yes, there's a little bit of lag from channel to channel compared to typical, but I mean, yes, the quality is amazing, and it's what you want to watch when you want to watch it, you know, whatever that is. So, but yeah, go ahead.
I think you kind of avoided the lady's question.
Right.
I have the same one. We don't have grandchildren here.
Yep.
We don't have children in the state of Ohio, period. do you have the technology, if we would decide to stay with the City of Bryan internet, which right now we're not going to, do you have the manpower to come out and help us if we stay with the city internet? Spectrum would have the manpower to come out and help us.
Well, that's a good question. Do we have the manpower? I think we have 3 employees that, as far as that goes, actually 1 employee that goes out, and he's amazing. To be honest with you, he's amazing, and he helps people all the time when it comes to any of those things. He goes above and beyond at any hour to help our customers. But do we have enough of him? Probably not, depending on what we're talking about. If we're talking about your whole subdivision, I don't know if he's enough to take care of the whole subdivision, although he does a lot. And you ask anybody about our customer service and that person, and they would tell you that he is amazing. But to go out there and take care of everybody's problem, no.
Maybe not one-on-one, maybe we have a class. Kind of like what some of our bid.
And you would like to point somebody to YouTube, but if they don't know how to get wireless internet, they can't really watch the videos on how to do these things. But yeah, and I understand what you're saying. Maybe you don't know somebody, and your children are here. I get that.
And we're of the age where
Right.
we didn't learn this in kindergarten.
Right. Well, I wasn't either, believe me.
And we don't like to impose on people,
Yes.
you know.
I think-
But in order to stay with the Bryan internet, we're gonna need help.
You know what, I don't know if this is a viable option or not, but I mean, something we could do is post something on our website to offer a service to help elderly people or somebody, and maybe get some kind of sign-up thing where people would volunteer to help people like yourself to set that up for you. Because even if you don't have a smart TV, something that was built, I mean, you have Amazon or know what a Fire Stick is, or,
No.
Roku
No.
TV. But these are all things that somebody could teach you, and you know what? There's good people out there, and then I bet there's all kinds of people standing in line that would love to be able to help people like that. So I don't know. Maybe we can look into the fact of posting something to take volunteers to donate their time to help people. I don't know if that's makes sense or not. But
If we would stay with the Bryan internet, because it sounds to me like I know we're gonna go Spectrum both ways.
right,
But if you're trying to convince people to stay with the Bryan internet,
yeah,
there's no reason to if we don't know how to hook up anything.
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we have to look out for our customers. Our internet customers are very important to us right now, especially with this, the possibility of this happening. So
That's why I'm asking
so-
if you would have people to help us.
we actually have, like 600-700 people that just have internet only, that don't have cable TV. So it's not like they're all of our business that we have. Like I said, there's 600 or 700 people that just have our internet that's stream only. They don't even have cable TV. So, but I think, not for you then, but for others, I think that might be something viable for those people to help them, by offering, volunteers to help them, if it's something we could do. It wouldn't cost us anything to post something out there to ask for volunteers to get on a name, and if people call us, we could refer them to a list of people that are volunteering. I mean, I don't like getting involved with, the private side of something, because we don't want any liability of any of that kind of stuff. But, I mean, I don't know, it's something we can look into.
Because
I
it's
guess.
very hard when you get on the telephone, like if we have trouble with our phones, some people you can't even understand.
Right.
Yeah.
No less if we were calling and they're saying, well, hook this and hook that, and
Right.
what are you talking about?
That's why I'm saying our customer service is very good. As far as the customer service that we have, we spend extra time. We're not in and out. We're not in a hurry. We take care of people. We work around their schedules and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm proud of that part of our communications department.
Well, I'll vouch for the fact that the customer service is excellent. I've had computer issues
Yeah.
in years past, and that somebody always either walked me through it or actually came out to the house if necessary.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, one of the reasons that we would love to stay with what we got.
Right. Yeah.
When it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Understood.
Did you have something? Yes, ma'am.
Well, you said something about you'd have somebody come out and do things for, to help you. Well, for example, the other night, our TV, all of a sudden we lost the main channels on it. And I said to my husband, I said, what happened? He said, I don't know, just all of a sudden went off. Well, we don't know if he stepped on the remote or what, but he worked and worked to get them back. Well, we do have a grandson here in town, and we had to call him to come down, but he only came down when he can. And he got it straightened out, but we had to go all back and start all over like our TV was the beginning of it. And he got it back for us. But he can't always come down and help us either because he works, he has a job. And so, I don't know, we'll probably end up going to Spectrum. But it's just, you know, we were very set there because we have certain things I like to watch. I like to watch 56, I like the Home Improvements show, you know, and things like this. And we couldn't get anything except like 11:11 and 13:12 and like that. And all the main channels were gone. So thank God he knew what he was doing and got down there because we piddled with it for an hour and a half. Couldn't get done with it. But I mean, I understand it's hard for us older people to understand that stuff. I mean, we're not dumb, but you know, our brains isn't like they used to be.
We weren't brought up that way.
We were taught it.
That's right.
We didn't have it in school.
Right.
Yes, I understand.
I mean, that was just an example of, you know,
Yep.
so how us people sometimes just can't do things.
Right. Any other comments, questions? Okay. In that case, Board, I have two resolutions to deal with this problem in different ways. One is to increase the rates, the other is to discontinue the cable. So I would like your direction. How do you feel?
When would each of them be implemented if we voted one way or the other tonight?
That's no for sure.
It's written on the last line of each one.
May 31st.
May 20th, for the advisory bills.
So we are under kind of a time crunch.
A little bit.
And the sooner we act on something, the sooner, the more time people have
It's still not that
to
much.
start preparing for something else. So
But that's
we
not that
can't
much
drag it
time
out any
either.
longer. I think we know what we're going to, well, I know what we're going to do. At least I know what I'm going to do.
I'm glad it's not a done deal.
So,
But that doesn't,
Karen? Karen, how do you feel?
You know, I can see we're going in the hole big time, 300,000 a year without even, I mean, that's just in programming costs. And I want to stop that loss. We've been experiencing a loss for too many years. I don't know if it would be of any benefit to make a mix of this where we raise the rates for now for a short period of time, 3 months, and then discontinue. I don't know. I'm throwing ideas out. I don't know how we can help, if that would help. Any comments? Yes.
What would help is a discontinuation date.
That's what we're working on right now.
That's,
I just have a feel, but if you try to combine the two, I could say this, that we would have a mass exit if we raised the rates to $118. Not to mention if we raised the rates and we had to invest in our head end over there, we would be spending money for something that still people are running away from because of the cost. So I think we're kind of, if you combine the two, I think it's going to be challenging, to say the least. I think there again, it's kicking the can down the road. It's putting a Band-Aid. It's not even a Band-Aid, you know, as far as that goes, because we're just investing more into it.
Yeah. I didn't know if it would help it, you know, extend it by 3 months. Maybe we just extend the discontinuation date another month.
Well, because of the time frame that
We're
we're
a
in.
little bit into
we have to invest in a couple months in.
Yeah.
No, not for that.
My concern is I don't think people are going to want to pay for the increase for what we got. We have to stop bleeding. I'm not comfortable with the cutoff date per se. I have a feeling that, and this is my feeling, that if we go with Spectrum, seems to be the popular vote or the direction, that if we say Spectrum, we have 1,182 people that may be contacting you. We're dumping all these people on here. We cut off services May 31st. These fine folks are going to be without TV of some sort for possibly how long. I think my thought process is, will they have enough, will Spectrum be able to get enough workers to help these people out in this short amount of time?
Well, that's what Joe was speaking of, that once, believe me, they want every customer they can get. I don't know if you guys receive any of these flyers, but I get about 20 of them every week as far as switching providers and stuff for this, and this. They want every customer they can get, and they will, once a phone call comes in and another one comes in, they will beef up their, just like Joe said, he's worked in this business for a long time, they'll beef up their workforce and they'll come in here and make it happen for those people.
That's only my concern.
Right, and it's mine too, because like I said, these have been our customers that have stuck with us for, since 1996. I mean, or whatever it is. I mean, it's just, I understand that it is important to them, and I feel bad about that part of it, to be honest with you. It's the hardest part.
Is this too soon? That's my concern.
I don't know if we have an option on those dates.
I don't think May 31st was just a generic date that we picked out of the air, was it?
Nate, can I come up and speak to the two resolutions?
Yes.
Maybe make any sense of this?
Absolutely.
That would help.
And the ramifications of doing either or. It is confusing, I understand that. The two resolutions you have, obviously, is to raise the rates to the 118.22 and to discontinue the service. Now, to answer this lady's question that's been asking this all evening, the deadline date to discontinue cable television service is May the 31st of this year, 2022. That is not an arbitrary date that we chose. There's programming, there's equipment that has to be installed on that head end to maintain a large number of the programs on extended basic service. It has to be installed by June 1, or it will no longer be available. It has to do with the satellite compression. They're doing dual simulcast until then. And that's the reason this date was chosen. We regret that it has to be such short notice. At the same time, we have a responsibility. We have to notify every customer in the system at least 30 days prior to making any changes to the system of this sort. In order to do that, through the letters and through the billing cycles with the utility bills, we have to make the decision one way or another today. And the ramifications are, if we increase the rates and try to extend this for a while, what we're doing is we have to work, and we have to try to get that head end upgraded to bring in all the programs in by June 1 at a large expense. We have to continue to spend a lot of capital dollars in that head end and on that facility over there over the next year, during this year. Dollars that we can't justify spending. And that's that. The $118 and change, the rate we would break even on programming. We would stop that amount of bleeding, but we still have the capital expense that we have to put into our system, that there is no return on investment because we're making no net income on the cable product. And to answer your question, the reason for May 31st is a technology reason. It can't be done. We can't adjust the rates and say, okay, we're going to offer service for another 5 or 6 months and we're just going to delete these programs. We can't do that because our programs a lot of people watch, and then you get into a big mess trying to figure out all the rates and everything for that. So I just wanted to explain that.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Rhonda, is there any language in the franchise agreement that Spectrum has with the city of Bryan that would give these people any leverage now?
We don't really have a franchise agreement anymore. By the revised code, there are franchise fees, but
Okay.
that was changed.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, I'm going to say then that the appropriate resolution would be to discontinue the cable service as of May 31st. So Lori, would you number and read the appropriate resolution, please?
Resolution number 17, 2022, to discontinue Bryan Municipal Utilities BMU Cable TV services.
With regret, I will move to approve resolution number 17.
This is
I sadly second the motion.
Tom?
Yes.
Karen? Jim?
yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Mr. Salsbury, can I have a second?
Sure.
I just want to address all of the public, because a lot of you we saw last night. As the mayor, we all feel that we're letting you down, and we know that, but we have all dealt with cost increase, employee challenges, automation, quite frankly, state and federal laws that do not want municipal government doing things that private businesses can, including trash and cable. And we have been trying for years to hold on to it. One of the things that did somewhat slow these conversations was actually the 2-year pandemic. And I know even when Mayor Runkle was mayor, the garbage collection in Bryan was a discussion. I know cable has been a discussion for years. I can tell you that all council members, all city administration, all BMU administration and BPA members have tried everything we know within our abilities to keep these services for you. And we are terribly sorry that we're sitting here with these decisions. We are. I know that may sound like lip service. It's not. I'm a customer too. So I thank you all for engaging.
Thank you, Mayor. Well said.
Sorry.
Next on the agenda is a resolution. Lori, would you number and read?
Resolution number 18, 2022, authorizing the Director of Utilities to execute agreements for the power plant substation Phase 1 major equipment.
Yes, sir.
As you all know, we have been working towards getting the 34.5 as it is aged and become part of our system that has not been as viable from a reliability or a future stability standpoint. And we have acquired now everything converted over except for the power plant. And you approved in February the resolution to go out for bids for the major equipment. But we received those bids back. The appropriated amount was $742,150. The 4 items that were sent out for bid were for the 69 circuit breakers, 72.5 kilovolt ones, the relay panels, The major equipment, which is insulators, switches, and things like that that go in the steel structures, and then the fourth part of the bid is steel structures. All the bids came back in underneath their engineering estimates at $665,385, which gave us, that was the engineering estimate. The bids actually came in at $549,412 and change. That gave us an engineering estimate savings of $115,972, and from an appropriation standpoint, that was a savings of $192,737,000. What we are requesting is that the Board of Public Affairs allow the utility director to award these bids as received so that we can get things on order, stop any more cost increases, and some of the structure material from Power Line is actually at a 25-week delivery time already. And so trying to minimize those items from the future.
Did you say 25 weeks?
Yes. Insulators, switches, power transformers, which should be easy to make. They're out 25 weeks.
That's what surprises me.
Let alone what I can imagine, once we get the relays ordered, what they'll come back after a couple months and tell us, oh, those are still 4 more weeks or something like that, so.
Not like it was in the old days.
No, this doesn't even come close to getting to the fall to get
Yeah.
installed. So we're hoping to get some steel structure if this is awarded tonight, in order to get some cement poured maybe this fall and get some structures up and at least get moving on getting some of them mounted.
It's very good savings. I mean, it's not a savings, it's cost avoidance. Very good.
You did a good job. Any other questions or comments?
Good job.
None? I'll accept the motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Tom?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next is a presentation of the AMI meter replacement program. Derek?
Excuse me, I want to take a few minutes and talk about the meter replacement program. Essentially, this is our AMI kickoff presentation. Just want to give you a timeline of how we got here, what we've done, and what's to come. We start back in 2009. I believe that's when the first discussions were about upgrading utility meters. The timeline does jump to 2017, but in between that time, there was several discussions and several attempts at this project, and for various reasons, it just never happened. But in 2017, Value Tech Solutions was hired to complete an AMI feasibility study. The results of that study indicated a reduction in operating and maintenance costs, and while we also could replace our outdated meter reading equipment and enhance our customer service. 2018, Value Tech Solutions and BMU staff worked together on an RFP and then also on the vendor selection process. January of 2020, after review and evaluation of the RFP, Eaton Corporation was selected and recommended to the BPA. We moved to March of 2020. That is, obviously when the COVID-19 pandemic was kind of in full swing. That resulted in us cutting back or scaling back on projects due to the uncertainty. We moved to April of 2021, a little over a year later. We were still in contact with Eaton during that time frame. But in April, they offered some affordable financing options, and after discussion with the DPA, there was interest in reviving the project. From that point, things moved pretty quickly. In May then, Resolution 16 authorized a master service agreement with Eaton for the AMI system. In June, we reviewed our financing options and completed agreements for loan proceeds. Also in June, we verified meter quantities and equipment. And then in July, we created the purchase order for the meters, the equipment, the hardware, and the software. I want to give you an update of each department, kind of what's been done and what's to come. The communications department, they've been quite busy. They have 8 of our 10 gateways installed. There's 2 remaining locations, one in Norlick Place, one in Lakeland Woods. We're waiting for some drier conditions to get those installed. But the gateway, as you can see in the picture, is the gray box, and it's a data collection device. That data goes to that device, and then it gets backhauled to our head end. The Yukon Data Management System, these are the servers that store and process the data for billing. Those are also installed and operational. The Yukon Application Server, that's the operating system that our staff and the city clerk staff will use. That's also installed and operational. And then the Network Scout, that is a field tool, and that's used to commission the gateways. It wakes up water meters, and it's used for troubleshooting. An update on the water meters. The picture on the right there is just our typical meter pit installation with the meter, the white line there, and then the black piece at the top is what we would call the water node. But as far as the meters go, we ordered 4,037 of them. We have all 4,037 meters. The lid lock kits, we ordered 3,800. We have all 3,800. The water nodes are a little bit of a problem right now. We have 4,046 on order, and we don't have any of those. At our last meeting with Eaton, they gave us an estimated ship date of June 30th, but they also told us to expect a several-month delay on those. So water is pretty much at a standstill until we have the nodes. An update from the electric department, residential meters, 2022 of the 5,816, or roughly 35%. We've received those. We expect to receive another shipment in July for the remaining meters. Commercial meters are the same way, 36 of 368, and we expect those to arrive in July as well. Meter installation. We do have several meters that are installed. We had to do this, it was necessary to do this because we needed to test the connections from the meter to the gateway and back to the head end. And then we also needed to test our change-out process with the city clerk's office. And then we needed to have the ability to train on the Yukon software. So there's a handful that are already in the system. The on-site training, we had 2 days of on-site training at the beginning of March. The BMU staff, the city clerk staff both participated in that. We basically got an overview of the functions and the tools and the capabilities of the software. And then we also worked together and created a dashboard. So when you would log in, you have a dashboard there that kind of gives you an overview and an at-glance look of different information. And then as we continue on with this project, when we start actually reading and billing from the system, there'll be additional training on that as well. The next few slides are probably the ones that we need to take the most from, and that is, this is part of our notice of meter replacement. Ohio Administrative Code 4109 requires the customer be notified at least one business day in advance of the installation of an advanced meter. Right now, we are looking to begin the week of April 18th, so just under 2 weeks from today. We expect this project to continue into 2023. And back on March 21st, we did start running a bill insert on that cycle of bills. That's what you see on the left there. That's been included in all the bills. It's for our residential customers only, but we included it in all of the bills. And I know you can't read it, but there's two of them in particular that I just want to make mention of. Is that's in a question and answer format. One of the questions is what about my electric and water bill? Your electric and water bill will look just like it always has. You may, though, see two different readings on your bill, one from an old meter, one from a new meter, but those combined are your usage. So we want to make sure people understand that. And then the other one is if anyone has a medical condition and that requires uninterrupted electric service, we would like them to contact us so we can add them to the list so we can schedule that meter replacement. And then with our business and industries, we'll work with those to schedule those as well. What else to expect? When we begin this, our replacement route will follow the billing cycle and will follow what book is being read. So we may be in different parts of town, each week. There won't be a specific direction we're going, but we'll be following the billing cycle and what book is being read. When your electric meter is upgraded, there will be a brief interruption in power. You can expect to reset your clocks or other electronic devices. When the water meter is replaced, there'll be a brief interruption in your water service. You may need to run a faucet to remove any air from your water lines. And then what you can see there is a door hanger. The door hanger will be left behind, and that will indicate what meter was changed. There's a checkbox on there for electric and a checkbox for water. We will make that mark and hang it on the door. Residents will see two door hangers. The electric and water meter won't be changed at the same time, and there probably will be quite some time difference between when they're done. As we talked, week of April 18th, electric meters, some will be changed. Our water nodes, we may not have till September. So there's certainly going to be a time difference in there. I should go back. Is there any questions on that? Okay. The last couple slides here are for some information for you for the next agenda item. Nate's going to talk about that a little bit as well. But Ohio Administrative Code 4109 requires the electric utility to provide customers with the option to remove an installed advanced meter, the option to decline installation of an advanced meter, and to retain the traditional meter. So who is eligible to opt out from an advanced meter? Residential customers are eligible. Non-property owners, such as a tenant, they're eligible, but that must be with signed permission from the property owner. And owners and tenants of buildings with 4 units or less, and that also is with the owner's signed permission. Who is not eligible? Net metering customers, our commercial and industrial customers, and then customers who live in any type of dwelling with 5 or more meters in one location. So if there's a meter room, or if there's 5 meters on an exterior wall, those customers are not eligible either. The other ones, if the service creates a safety hazard to the consumers, their premise, the public, or the electric utilities personnel or facilities are not eligible. And then if a customer does not allow the electric utility access to the meter, they're not eligible either. Opt-out fees, again, back to the administrative code. The electric utility may establish a one-time fee to recover the cost of removing an existing advanced meter and the installation of a traditional meter. We will propose a one-time recovery fee of $75. And then the electric utility may establish a recurring fee to recover costs associated with providing meter reading and billing services associated with a traditional meter. So basically, if you opt out, we can recoup some of our costs for having to manually go and read those, and we'll propose a fee of $25 per month for that. The application process, you have to submit a complete application. The applicant must deliver the signed application to the BMU office here on Edgerton Street. We'll process the application in a timely manner and notify them of the status. And if approved, BMU will contact the owner and schedule the meter changeout. And lastly, on our webpage, there's more information about the opt-out policy, and as well as you can contact the BMU office. Any questions, comments?
After what we've been through for the last couple of years, I'm just glad to see we're making progress, even with the delays in the meters and stuff.
So the lids that are on the meter pits now will be replaced with, no?
No, we'll use the same cast iron lids, but the node is like the missing piece. Is that what your question is? Yeah. And then the lid lock will actually hold the node in place. We have the lid locks. We don't have the nodes.
It's the transmitting part, so when you drill a hole in, that lid lock holds the node on there, and the node is what transmits. So basically, it's just a traditional meter sitting there until we get that part of the transmitting part of it.
Is it that round gray piece that's sitting, I think I've got one on mine.
Yeah, there's touch pads that are real similar. The touch, it'll be real similar.
It'll be real similar to that.
Yes.
Question? For Derek? No? Thank you, Derek. Next is a resolution. Lori, would you number and read, please?
Resolution number 19, 2022, modifying the Electric Department General Rules and Regulations, Exhibit A, Special Service Charges.
Basically, just following up on Derek's presentation concerning the process and the policy changes that we're going to be doing with the electric department. We're looking at doing a Rules and Regs Exhibit A for the various special service charges that he pointed out. The AMI project is, if we prepare to launch, we need to add this information to reflect these new charges in there. And one is the $25 a month recurring fee for manually reading and setting up the billing services of manually doing this. And then the $75 one-time fee for change out of advanced meter. So down the road, once these meters are installed, somebody moves in, they don't want it, we charge them a one-time $75 fee. We go out there, we pull that meter, we put a traditional meter in, and that's the $75 one-time, and we set that billing system up for that one, and then, then there's that $25 reoccurring fee to manually read the meter. Just so you know, these fees do not cover our costs. It's some people will say that, oh, $25. Well, that's a person getting in a truck, going out there, just traditionally reading the meter, coming back, giving the reading to the clerk's office, and so, I mean, it's not like they're making, we're not even recovering our costs, just so you know. This is basically just changes to our electric department general rules and regs as far as the Exhibit A only service charges. So, anybody have any questions about the opt-out policy or the addition of these charges?
Can they opt out before the AMI or the meter's put in place and save the $75?
Right now, that's why we're looking at this as an official kickoff, because technically we only have to give them 1 day, okay? I mean, as far as the code goes. But what we're trying to do is give them a couple weeks. So if we're not going out there till May 18th, or excuse me, April 18th, the week of April 18th, then they're gonna have that amount of time to let us know that they don't want to. We won't charge them that fee, of course. We just won't change their meter out. This is for future down the road for people that move around and want to opt out. And just so everybody knows, I want to bring this up, that Montpelier uses the same meter, Northwest Electric uses the same meter, Paulding Putnam County uses the same meter. They're all over the place. We're one of the last people to get this thing going. So, but we are required to offer this opt-out policy, and we're hoping that, there's less than a handful of people that do take advantage of it. In the long run, it's what's best for us to be able to, troubleshoot their meters. We've had issues. I don't have to go over all of them with you. I mean, with dog bites, fences, all of those things. It's something that we've been looking forward to for a long time, and all we care about is reading meters. That's it. That's our goal, is to be able to read these meters right now. They have the capability of doing other things down the road when technology, and we want to take advantage of it, we will. But right now, our main goal is just to read meters. So, with that, I'm asking the board to approve this resolution to make the changes to Exhibit A, special rates.
Any more questions? Can you have a motion to approve, please? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Jim?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next is a request to place a water department employee on regular employment status. Jackie?
Good evening, everyone. Jimmy Dunning has been the probationary water plant supervisor for 6 months, and we now request that he be placed on regular employment status as the water plant supervisor. He continues to develop his leadership skills and grow the team over there with Chad as well as Adrian now, and training Adrian. So.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we approve Jimmy Dunning into the water plant supervisory position, taking off probation.
I second it.
Karen?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next is to accept the resignation of an electric department employee.
Yeah, I am sad to inform the board that Brad Plummer, a line worker for the electric department, has placed his resignation with the utilities effective April the 8th to take employment elsewhere.
Sad to hear that. Any questions about Brad? I'll make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next is a motion to effect semi-monthly disbursements. Can I have a motion to pay the bills, please?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Next, comments from EPA and staff. Nate?
I do have an update. I got a few things here, actually. So basically, I want to give a project update on Airbag Watermain extension. We held bid openings on March 30th. There were 4 bids received for the project. All came in near or below the engineering estimate. We're still evaluating those bids right now, but it looks like Bryan Excavating is currently the apparent low bidder, coming in between 20 to 30% below our initial estimates. So I want to thank them for having a very competitive bid. I'm happy that Bryan Excavating found the time for one, and hopefully find the materials to get this done in a timely manner and at a very, very reasonable price in today's market. So I wanted to publicly thank them for their bid, and we're still processing that whole process to get it moving. But I just wanted to say that. We also had our bid opening yesterday for the water treatment plant. Oh, or is that today?
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's been a long day. So we did have a bid opening for a water treatment plant, high pressure south filter, and we hopefully will have, we received one bid, so hopefully by the next meeting we'll have something for the board to bring on. So far, so good. I mean, if you heard about Jim's bid, you heard about the water treatment plant bid and this water main extension for what's going on in today's market. I'm extremely excited about those. Hopefully that continues for us, Also, right back here, we have our RP3 public power. It was advertised in the paper, which kind of, and then John Betts yesterday stole some of our thunder too by announcing at the board meeting, but I appreciate his enthusiasm and thank him for appreciating it, for one, because it is. It's not something that, this award, the diamond level, is just handed out to anybody. I want to thank our team and all the people that contributed to make this happen. This is a big deal, and it really is. So I just wanted the board to see that, and we couldn't be prouder to get the diamond designation for the last 2 times. So that's saying something. I mean, even when you're down to Amp, they look at you and they go, wow, the diamond level, because that doesn't happen to everybody. Yeah. So diamonds are made from pressure, extreme pressure. And our guys around here do well under pressure and get things done, and they deserve every bit of it. So I'm very proud of all of them. I also kind of want to congratulate Jimmy on moving to regular employment status. He's a great guy. I'd also like basically thank Brad for his service to BMU. I wish him well. He's done a great job for us here. And also we have Megan Wilder, a new part of our team. She started as our account clerk, and I just wanted she started yesterday, so I wanted to welcome her to our team. I think she's going to be a great addition to our team here. So I think that's enough for me. Mayor?
I just have one thing that affects the board a little bit. You guys always make a donation to our Parks Department for trees. And we were given the Tree City Award for the city of Bryan, and that is our 34th year in a row, and then also the Growth Award, which we've gotten for the 22nd year in a row. So very proud of our Parks Department Tree Commission, and just want to thank the BPA for their continued support of that as we work together with power lines and trees and continue that tradition in Bryan. So thank you.
Lori?
No, sir.
James? No, sir. Garrett? Jackie?
Yes, I do this evening. I have a couple of things. One thing also that I want to make sure the board is aware of, that the BMU team was also recognized for their award, for their safety award. It was a safety award of excellence at the American Public Power Association. And those are not handed out that easily either. And I'm happy to say that actually in 2021 we had 0 accidents. So that is all the team and everybody working together to achieve that. With Brad resigning, I would also like to ask if we can start the recruitment process and post for a line worker position. So if it would be okay to do that, I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion. We do. I think because of the loss of Brad, we have retirements coming up. I think we need to not procrastinate.
Yes, we have a potential retirement coming at the first part of 2020.
I'll sign.
Jim?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Joe?
It's been a night.
You bet. I'll talk to him. Tom?
Boy, it was a tough one tonight, that cable TV. And I thank all the residents that showed up to voice their concerns, ask their questions, and just want them to know that, boy, we'll do everything we can to help the transition go smoothly for them, as Nate said, so we'll do everything in our power. Also, congratulations to Jimmy Dunning and his change of classification, and all the best to Brad Plummer in his new position. And congratulations to our BMU team for the RP3 award and the safety award. It's a team effort, I'm sure, and you all work hard to achieve those awards. Thank you. Karen?
Okay, I want to thank all the guests we had from the community come in and give us a good discussion and let us hear their side and their viewpoints and ask what can they do and how can we help them. Appreciate their time and pass along. It is a sad situation that we had to let the cable go, but it's you do have to cut the ties and cut your losses when you have the opportunity, and this is the time. Congratulations to Jimmy Dunning for his job title, and goodbye to Brad Plummer, and good luck to him in his future. And the whole utility, the RP3 Diamond Award and the Safety Award, good job to everyone.
I'm just going to basically repeat everybody else. The cable TVs was a tough decision. And I want to also thank you for the residents for coming in. We like to hear from our residents, so thank you for coming in. Congratulations to Jimmy. Congratulations to Brad on his new adventure. Congratulations on the safety award and to, on our diamond level or the RP3. And that's all I have.
Yeah, I'll touch on what Tom said a little bit. It's been a rough night. And it's never good to have to eliminate services because of cost. And I guess that's the downside of this job. Congratulations to Jimmy Dunning and Brad Plummer. I truly hate to see him leave, but I wish him the best. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. Tom?
Yes.
Annette? Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.